Hello and very warm welcome to Global Morning. I'm Wiyag Mofwegbe. As always, it's with delight to say thank you for deciding, as always, to join us here this morning. What more can I say? We're saying grateful, and today is the best time to be alive.
That's very true. Today is the best time to be alive. And what makes it the best? Because with life, there is hope. If you want to think it's not the best day to be alive, then maybe you should just pay a visit to the mortuary or probably to the cemetery and see the number of people that will be laid 6 feet below the earth today.
Right.
So, like you said, I join my capacity with your capacity to say I am grateful.
I see an overdose of capacity now.
I'm Ramsey Kagwa, and it's so great to have you join us on Global Morning today. It's going to be a beautiful ride as usual, and of course, fasten your seatbelt, like they will always say for people who are taking off in a flight. All right, let's get started.
All right, so we must get started. It's interesting, Ramsey, how that in the last couple of days we've seen what I probably should call a preponderance of reports of how that the Nigerian military, always gallant, has been, or if you like, armed forces, all right, have been winning the war against insurgents. Yesterday, Priscilla and I took a time to talk about some of these issues. You see, this is what we should have been doing the last few months, the last several years. Because whether you like it or not, they say no matter how good your product is, if you don't put it out there, you're like someone who has the best of item in the market, but you are just blinking in the dark, right? So you're wondering, were we recording this amount of successes before against bandits, against insurgents, or is it the Trump threats that prompted us into this sort of action? Because you see, whether you like it or not, like again, Priscilla mentioned yesterday, we need to come to a point where even those on the ground, locals, people who live in communities across the country can testify to how that there's an improvement in security, because ultimately they are the ones to give that feedback, really. So it's interesting where we are today.
Yes, exactly. And I think the last statement stands out for me. And I'm not even, Nigerians, not me, Nigerians want to be the ones to say, well, it is better than it used to be. Because they are the ones facing the heat. They are the ones being attacked. They are the ones being driven out of their communities. Have the displaced people been able to go back home?
Right.
Can they now sleep with their two eyes open? But then it's so amazing to know that in a couple of days after the threat, we heard a lot of attacks, and of course, attacks going on. Bandits are still attacking some people in some villages. And we've heard of how some terrorists are fleeing the country, how a particular border have been shot against them so they don't get into Chad and all of that. And I was seeing something on social media today, I don't know how true that is, that ISWAP and is it Boko Haram also clashing against themselves.
Right.
And I saw something like there is an instruction from, I think, the lead telling the terrorists not to go walking about since the statement from Donald Trump. I think let's get to that time where Nigerians can, on their own, not the army reporting it now, but Nigerians reporting that, yes, now they have peace to an extent. You can ply the highway, you can sleep in your house, in your community. You don't need to set up vigilantes. Even if vigilantes are set up, they should just be to check one or two little criminalities in the community, and not because of armed headsmen.
Right.
So I think we want to hear more from Nigerians. But if we can continue with this pace, as in this attack, arrest of terrorists, killing of terrorists, and making them flee out of the country, it will be a good one. So we should sustain this. Let it not be because there is a tension. Let it not because somebody has made a statement somewhere, but it should be an assignment, an intention, something that someone is doing intentionally to get rid of a particular set of people that have been nuisance to the society.
Well, quite an interesting way to put it, I must say. But you see, life and property well, security of life and property, you can't take that away. It's constitutional, is the role of government, is at the very heart of social contracts, even though we say Section 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended is still quite a troubling item for us. Let's take a quick break now, time to bring you motivation. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Your way to success. Well, success have many brothers, but failure is an orphan. You will never be a failure, and you can never be a failure. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and today we want to look at a very simple stance. What am I going to talk about today? I want to encourage us that we don't have to wait for motivation before we take action. You don't have to wait for motivation before you take action or do the right thing that you need to do. If you must be successful, because you need to act, number one, you need to act very fast based on what you want to achieve. Because everyone have what they are built and designed for. We have a lot of people who are jealous of what we have, who we are, where we are, and what we have been wired to do, or what we have been destined to become. It's very clear. So sometimes that you are waiting for motivation. Motivation can come from either of these people, unknown to you that these persons are actually there to talk you down indirectly. There are some motivation, some healing. That's why I tell people all the time, don't be carried away by praises. Some people can praise you into damnation. Yes, some people can praise you into the pit. There are people that because they praise them, because they heal them, because of applause, you know, they are nowhere to be found today. They are off the stage already. So what we have to do, the number one thing that you need to do is don't wait for motivation, act first. And motivation will follow. All right? There is a secret for successful people. And successful people may not even tell you this. They don't feel motivated every day. That's the truth. Ask the richest man in the world today. He don't feel motivated every day. Sometimes you need to motivate yourself, encourage yourself in what you are doing. They act their way into motivation. motivation is not the starting line. It is the result of the movement. All right? That's when motivation comes. When you are successful, everyone wants to identify with you. When you are successful, you are a newsmaker already. Everyone wants to be your friend, but you need to be careful. Choose your friends carefully and don't allow your friends choose you. Because a lot of people may want to be your friend because you are a successful man. A lot of people want to claim to be your motivators. Motivators, they are the ones motivating you. Guy, I need to be careful. All right? Wedding happens after you begin. Because first of all, you need to believe in what you are doing. The confidence has to be there before you can even do what you are doing correctly. If not, you fidget on stage. He said in his own case, he didn't feel very confident when he first started. He didn't fancy tools, but he showed up. And the more he acted, the more motivated he became. All right? What you need to do is build confidence yourself. And confidence built consistently have a long way to go. Don't be scared. See, sometimes God puts something in you and your environment may not look it. Your size may not even look it. Do you know when somebody is telling you, this one, what can he offer? This one from this village, I knew when this person was born. A lot of people are going to say so many things, but you need to be confident of yourself because you know what you carry on your inside, you know what you are made up of, you know what God told you are going to become. You know what? See, build confidence consistently. Always be confident of yourself. Because action, by the time you begin to put in that action, it creates clarity. When you move, ideas flow. Right? Someone can attest to what I'm saying right now. But when you sit still, fear grows. I want to say that again. When you move, when you take action, ideas flow. That's why some people will tell you, before I even got on stage, well, I didn't even look at my script anymore because I was just flowing, it was because you got on the stage the first time and confidence came unknown to you. That's what it means. Okay? When you move, ideas will begin to flow. When you take that idea, you begin to break it down, an idea begin to flow. When you move, ideas do what? Flow. But when you are still, fear grows on your inside. So even if you don't feel like it, just take one small step today. Send maybe do one or two things that you feel this could actually boost whatever it is you're doing. Stop waiting for the perfect people. Because the perfect people may not be those people motivating you. Sometimes you are doing the wrong thing and some people are saying, wow, but you did well. But you are doing the wrong thing that is about destroying your future. I wonder what happened on social media these days. You see some people misbehaving, some people doing things that will take their lives, that will lead them to condemnation, destruction. And some people are there healing them. Be careful the kind of comments people make on your post. Some of them are not encouraging. Some of them are there to talk you down. You need to be careful. Build confidence yourself. Believe in yourself. Trust in what you are doing. Trust in yourself. Trust in God first. Yeah, trust in God first, then believe in yourself. That's it. Trust God, then believe in yourself. You will get to your destination. And that is very, very important. So, everyone that is clapping for you, is not all of them that believe in your dream. But you need to be very, very careful. That's what it is. As people are clapping for you, as people are saying, go on, go on, go on, go on. Hey, you did very well. That thing you are doing, I like that, your lifestyle. Keep it up. Oh. Something that is not good, something that the society frowns at. Some people are encouraging you to be naked on social media. That is disastrous. And the same you is looking for a husband. Tell me, does it match? Does it really feel good? Or you want to, let me just leave it at that. Whatever you're doing today, be careful the kind of people that cheer you up. Be careful of motivation. Be careful of hand clap. Be careful of unnecessary healing. Examine yourself. Test yourself. Check what you're doing. But I want you to know that you need to get on the stage, get on that assignment, get on that job, get on that duty, get on that your job description, and just keep moving on it. Ideas will flow. But if you stay stagnant, I tell you the truth, fear will grow in you and build up, and before you know, a destiny has been killed and destroyed. That's not a portion. That's not a portion at all. You are a mobile success, going somewhere to happen. Don't allow anyone talk you down. Congratulations once again. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.
All right, well, some motivation for you there. Midweek already it is. So while you're doing some reminiscing and assessing of the last few days, let's use that as a basis to forge ahead and be able to go against the, headwinds, as they say. All right, and the days left in this working week. All right, so quite a number of things to talk about on the show today. The World Bank is saying that it is only 44%, again, 44% of all of the social investments that gets down to the intended beneficiaries. Just 44%, that's according to a World Bank report, which is on the news today. And if you look at that, Ramsey, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, you have never been a teacher or a lecturer. I mean, I don't know of that. But if you were to rate a student over 100 who has scored 44, what does that mean, really?
44?
You know, in primary school, there used to be something called week pass.
Let my people go.
Yes.
Just
that's at the university level.
Yes. Let my people go.
Right.
44 is not the best for me. It's not, no. 44. See, it depends on what we're talking about. Social investments. This has to do directly with the average Nigerians.
That's right.
Now, I've had someone on my program before who was counting the number of social investments that we had in the last administration and how many we have now. And of course, we're actually talking about the Office of the Humanitarian Affairs, the Minister of the Humanitarian Affairs and all of that. Then we're counting. Do you know that if World Bank should come out to give these statistics, it then means something is wrong somewhere? Because we're not talking about opposition party that you say, okay, these people are giving these statistics because
they're biased against me.
They're biased, they're against me. This is what Bank we're talking about here. And the same people we go to borrow money from. They are now feeling, well, this money is not being spent the way it's supposed to be spent. So what happened to the 60-something percent, all right, that is left untouched? You know, about, I don't know, I think 56% also.
Right.
But the truth is this, if we must work on the economy, improve on the economy, improve on the life of the average Nigerians, then more needs to be done. But the question is, who is even asking questions? Whether this money is being spent or not, nobody's asking questions. You give money out to someone to execute a project, and you don't supervise, you don't monitor. This is one of the things we always complain about in this country. But then, if there is proper supervision and accountability, we wouldn't be having this problem. And it's unfortunate. I was going through something on my way to the office this morning, and the Emir of Kano, the former CBN governor, Sanusi, was talking to this government. They are spending, he was just giving the figures in billions, what they have spent. And you begin to wonder, what has really, if this has gone out, what has really come in? the little, all right, that we have, especially the ones that have to touch the life of the average Nigerians, and somebody is still there taking it away. And no wonder that AIDS were being cut from some countries in Africa by the United States.
Right.
It's because of all of, see, they have the data. They have the data. You know what it means for someone to put out his hard-earned money for a particular purpose, and the purpose is not achieved. So I don't know. I think it's a high time. It's high time, and it should be a wake-up call for our government and people in authority to supervise whoever they are given an assignment. The school feeding program. If you hear the story, you will be shocked. You'll be shocked. If primary school students will be pupils, will be rejecting food because
In public schools.
in public schools will be rejecting food. These are people that even scamper for overnight food, and then something is wrong. Nobody is supervising these things. All you see is figures, but in reality, you don't see anything.
Okay, so Ramsey, I have my concerns really as a Nigerian, because I'm first a Nigerian before anything else. So my concern is, what is the authentic intention of government when you say we're rolling out this kind of program? Let's use, for the purpose of this conversation, the school feeding program you just mentioned as, if you like, a talking point, right? What is the intention of government? Is it government trying to say, look, children must eat healthy, children must be strong, must be nourished to be able to learn, all right, to put them in that right frame of mind? Is that the goal? Or is government looking at the optics and saying, what do we do to placate our people who probably are agitated about something, maybe social, economic concerns? Or is government saying, let's do this to score a political point after elections around the corner? Was that the goal? Because we must understand why we do what we do. Somebody wrote a book and titled it, Why You Act the Way You Do. All right, there's a reason we act the way we do. There's a reason you're here this morning. There's a reason we're on the show. So we've got to know what the intention on the part of government is. And then we've got to know exactly what the strategy is for pushing this initiative, as otherwise commendable as it is. What is this? There's got to be a strategy. Intention is not enough, no matter how good or well thought out it is never enough. So what is the strategy you're putting in place? Who are the people you're picking to help roll out this initiative? We've got to know that, right? What's their competence level? Do they have the capacity? Do they have the requisite cognate experience to do that? Are they public spirited? Are they patriotic? We must find out. Is that the basis on which you're picking them? We must know, all right? What is the timeline for the projects? Are you just going to be feeding school children for the next 20 years, for the next 30 years?
What's the target?
Exactly, nothing lasts forever. What is exactly the timeline, right? We must know that. And then we also now need to understand, what are the KPIs? What are the key performance indicators? How are you going to measure whether we are progressing or not, whether we are hitting targets or not? And finally, who will be commended should it go well, go as planned? Who will be held liable? Who will be held accountable if things go south? You see, we must have this, it's called stick and carrot approach. We must have a reward system, all right? We must also have a system that holds people accountable. So nothing should happen. I mean, a lot of things happen in this country and you don't find closure. It just hangs in the air and you're asking, how did that case turn out? What happened about that matter? And nobody even has an answer. Even those in government can't definitively answer. So with the school feeding program, just like you have with several other initiatives of government, it's a shame, it's embarrassing, and to even think that these figures are all coming from the World Bank makes it even more concerning. Well, time will fail us to go into all of these rigorous details this morning. Let's take a break now and bring you headlines from our national newspapers. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
It's now time for us to take you through the national dailies. Let's see what the papers are saying this morning. We'll get started with the Punch newspaper, where we have a story above the nameplate which says PDP crisis deepens as Abuja court halts convention. Tinubu Governors Sultan grace editors conference today. Only 44% of social benefits reach poor Nigerians, according to a report coming from the World Bank. We already talked about that. Nigeria's debt may hit 193 trillion naira with new loans. That is coming from the coordinating minister of the economy, Wale Edum. The picture is right there. And of course, the big story says House shuts down plenary amid tension over budget. One writer to that story, and the writer says over 45 bills. Reports told reps grumble over inadequate funding during tense closed down session at the National Assembly. Now to other stories on the Punch newspaper. And of course, this one says, a World Cup playoff is the kicker. Eagles boycott training over bonuses. I don't even know. I don't know what to say right now. I don't know what to say. Eagles boycott training. This is so crucial. This is not the time to do this. Why even owe? Is it that the money is not there? Why owe these guys? This is somebody these are players that other countries are struggling to get. And they come play for their own country, and not that they are poor.
Right.
They are not poor, but they need to insist on the right thing to be done. The last time we heard about how money was not used for the building of stadium in Nigeria here. Despite the defense coming from the former NFF president, Amaju Pinnick, Nigerians are still yet not satisfied.
Nigerians are not buying that defense.
Nigerians are not buying that defense.
In fact, they think it's even self-serving.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. So, how much is the bonus? We remember when President Bola Tinubu came into office, the first thing he did was to release monies for all of this. Is it that they were being owed? What's the problem? Who is holding this money?
Is it a matter of bureaucracy?
Is it
maybe a procedural issue? What exactly are we dealing with? Nobody's talking to you about all of these things.
Nobody's saying anything.
And then
if
you
not
continue to
until these
embarrass
guys
the country.
see, and they do these things at, oh my God, at a time that the whole world will know that this is what is happening.
Right.
This is World Cup playoff that we're talking about here. And all eyes are on this playoff.
Right.
And this is coming out in the papers. Well,
Quite shameful.
this is shameful, quite shameful. All right, let's get to another story. Tension as Wike soldiers clash over ex-naval chief's land. Details on page 12. Okay, well, we don't need to talk more about that. Probably we'll have some of those stories on Social Buzz this morning, or maybe the Social Buzz half hour. NDLEA US UK unravel 338 billion naira global cocaine network. My God. All right. Our fingers are still crossed to see when we'll begin to hear good stories, good news about Nigeria.
Right.
Those are the headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning as we move to the next paper.
All right, thank you, Ramsey. Time to look at the first daily for you. We begin with the headline above, just beside the first daily name mast. It says, Anambra election, Soludo Ibezim receive certificates of return, vow to work harder. Wike military officer clash over alleged Abuja land grab. NDLEA partners US, UK to track 338 billion naira Lagos cocaine seizure. Super Eagles boycott training over unpaid bonuses ahead of World Cup playoff. Army unveils new image, warns against using old Chief of Staff portraits. All right. What more do we have? PDP hits roadblock as court holds national convention.
It's a serious roadblock.
Yeah, sounds quite interesting. I mean, that's dramatic of a headline. The headline, as dramatic as it is, has two riders with it. The first says, fresh injunction throws opposition into chaos. Acting chair pledges to end impunity, rebuild party. 2027, massive voter turnouts can stop pre-written results, Amechi. No ethno-religious crisis in Kaduna for over 2 years. Who's saying that? Well, it's credited to the incumbent governor, Uba Sani. Toilet infection, a myth, say health experts. So what exactly is it? Right, you can read up those details as well from the first daily newspaper today. Let's now take you to the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, let's quickly get to the Vanguard newspaper and see the headlines that we have on the Vanguard as it is. Beginning from the top of the masthead, Edum pledges review of capital gains tax to boost investor confidence. Very important. Wike soldiers bicker over alleged land grabbing in Abuja. Tinubu's reforms winning not. All right, this is attributed to Badaru Anyim Arewa think tank. All set for editors conference in Abuja today. Then the big story is so interesting. Trump, that's the kicker. Diplomatic engagements yielding results. That is attributed to the federal government. Diplomatic engagements yielding results. A couple of riders to that story, and I will patiently take them. Alleges certain US-based lobby group working to misrepresent Nigeria's situation. A federal government not doing enough to end Christian killings. This is coming from US Congressman. Tinubu coerce meet behind closed doors. Shaibu assures Nigerians of improved security. Nigeria bleeding from its own division. This is coming from Vatican envoy. This one says, embrace dialogue, not anger over Trump's comments. Northern Khan urges Nigerians. Terrorism in Nigeria, multifaceted. This is coming from Afenifere. Protests rock Katsina communities over bandits attacks again. You can find that detail on page 7. This one says, we've approved duty-free importation for aircraft spare parts. That is coming from Keyamo. No governor can complain of poor funding under Tinubu. This is coming from Sanwo-Olu. No governor can complain of poor funding under Tinubu.
So let's see the governor that will first that will be the
React
first
to this.
say, yes, look, we have basis to complain because we understand how monthly allocation has spiked very astronomically. We're looking at that of Edo State just this Sunday, for example, and I realized that what Edo State got this last October, right? October, in terms of monthly allocation, September, I should say, is almost twice what we got 11 months earlier, if you know what I mean.
Can you imagine?
Right. So what exactly will such a state complain about? I'm just using my home state, for example. So if you want to extrapolate that for other states, you'll be shocked what the numbers are saying. But are people empowered enough? Are they enlightened enough to hold their state executives, their chief executives in their respective states accountable? To whom much is given, much is expected, Ramsey.
I think it's even high time that common sense, which is not common, should tell us that there are some very necessary amenities to be put in place for these people since this money is coming in. We don't even, you don't even need to wait for people to ask questions before you do certain things. That's if conscience is in place anyway. So as it is, if any governor in Nigeria want to say, well, I'm not getting enough funds from the federal government as against what they were getting before, they should rise up to the occasion. Let Nigerians know. But then if this homologous amount is going down to the state governors and nothing is done, then I don't know. Maybe the defection is still happening. I will not really know the reason why this defection is happening. We said it on the program here. What exactly is the All Progressive Congress promising governors that they are defecting, whether defection or no defection? If the right thing is not done, when the right time comes, Nemesis will stand tall. Okay? So we can run from everything, but then I don't think we can run from posterity and, of course, Nemesis. Well, let's look at other headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. I'm almost rounding up. PDP crisis. Lamido secures another court order stopping convention. Oh, this is the handiwork of Lamido. All right, that's to tell you that the fashion is growing by the day. Anambra poll, Soludo deputy received certificates of return from INEC. We've not heard that anyone went to court after that election yet. Maybe, probably, nobody is going to go to court.
The Anambra election, right?
The Anambra election.
Results were announced just about 72 hours ago. Who knows? Maybe it's still
they are still working on gathering evidence.
Right, because we heard the Labour Party,
SDP, PDP.
Labour Party candidate says, well, in the days ahead, the people of Anambra will know what steps the party will be taking going forward. So, fingers crossed, all eyes on Anambra still.
All right, let's see how all of that is going to pan out. This is going to be the size of the headlines from this very particular paper. Let's move to the next point of call as I hand you over to Uyi.
All right, now let's look at the New Telegraph, everyone, quickly. From the very top of it, here it says, anxiety as stock market posts a record 4.64 trillion naira single day loss. Quite bearish markets. It has been, right? Then we move further down. Says FG, CBN, Finance Ministry to drive new phase of policy reforms. Below the nameplate with a picture of President Bola Tinubu. It says Tinubu to declare NGE annual conference open at Aso Rock with governors, ministers, media leaders in attendance. Those details are on page 2. 2027, Kalu tips Tinubu for easy victory, backs Trump's position on Nigeria. Cabal stops Buhari from carrying out electoral reforms. Is this cabal faceless or made up of people with faces?
There are some reports, some news that is even annoying. It's annoying. You can't just come and talk halfway. If you don't have the capacity or the strength to talk, to say the truth,
to go all the way.
To go all the way. There is no need talking. It's not compulsory to talk. If you're telling us these things, make a full sentence, make a full statement. Let Nigerians know what you're talking about. You don't just talk halfway. Who are these people? Are they faceless? Are they spirits? Let's know them. You brought this thing to the fore so that these people can be known, so that situations can be averted. So why talk halfway?
Interesting. Well, let's also not go halfway with our headlines, all right? We need to go the whole hog. Here it says, Wike clashes with naval officer over access to land in Abuja. We have talked about that earlier. Obviously, it's replicated across dailies today. Targeted killings. We have opened channels of communication with Trump. That's according to the FG, the federal government. You'll find those details on pages 2, 3, 4, 7, 28, and 29. But then there are riders to it. One here tells us someone who will defeat insecurity, others. Without hindrance, Nigerian armed forces can protect West Africa. That's a Adebayo. As Afenifere calls for tact, diligence, sincerity of purpose to defeat terrorism. Tinubu government spent $801 million on U.S. military assets in 18 months, according to INPI. Gunmen abduct 6 defense ministry directors. Quite a very, very uninspiring piece of story. There are 6 of them, all directors in the Ministry of Defense. Jagba. We stopped 294 Nigerians from exiting, denied 332 migrants entry. NIS, 36 human trafficking child labor victims rescued. Read up details on page 8. Again, court stops PDP from holding convention, INEC from recognizing outcome. That looks like blocking the party on 2 ends. First is you can't have these conventions. Second is if you go ahead to have it for any reason, the outcome will not be recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
I'm thinking, so the problem now is because Wike said they should see, if this convention must hold, they should see them.
Well, maybe says, come and talk to us.
Come and talk to us.
Right.
So, from all indication, it means this Hubabalo, this up and down, court here, this one here and there, is because they've not talked to the Wike faction.
Well, I think, Ramsey, I think we should wait for them to talk to Wike first and see what happens. But
so what's stopping them from talking to Wike if this convention is
quite
important?
Quite a number of things. One paper posted this morning by saying ambition and legal tussle splitting the PDP, right? So whose ambition? Is it Wike's ambition? We can't say Atiku now because practically the man is no longer in the PDP. So whose ambition? Is it that of Sheyi Makinde, or a governor of Oyo State, or is it that of Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, who for the most part had also been a strong voice in the PDP?
I think he's the one that went to court now.
Yes, he just secured this order. This is the third. The first one had stopped the PDP from going forward with the convention. The other one, of course, upturned that order, asking the PDP to, or ordering the PDP to go on with the convention, right? And now this is the third one. So it's a flip and flip and flip kind of situation they're dealing with here. But there is this part of the New Telegraph I like. It's at the foot of the paper. It says, not all skin diseases are infectious, says dermatologist. Those details you will find on page 27 of the New Telegraph today. So please read up details, and just to let you know, this is where we'll leave it with the papers. Be sure to read up details so you can stay ahead of fake news, all right? And then remember too that all of the headlines we bring for you here, they are exactly as published by their respective publishers. Global Television or the team here on Global Morning does not in any way contribute to them. After this break, Ogochukwu Mobuna will bring you Social Bars. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, our viewers. I am Ogochukwu Mobuna. It's another day to look at what's buzzing on the internet here on Social Buzz on Global Morning. Drama unfold between a military officer and the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, yesterday, the Tuesday of, it was really a dramatic one, as the soldier was preventing the FCT minister from accessing a land in Abuja. And everyone seemed to think something exactly is going on because of the way the minister was raising his voice at the soldier, the military officer. But I would like us to take a look at that video that has been making rounds on social media.
Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took the land. We will not allow because he was chief of naval staff, and then for you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop
and so
that?
you get the
Will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer. I have integrity.
Shut up, your mouth, put
Sir,
up,
I
sir.
will not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir, I'm a
I
commissioned
was in
officer.
school. You're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
me
you
up.
keep quiet?
You can't
Get
shut
a
me
big
up, sir.
fool.
I'm not a
You are a
fool.
big fool.
I'm not a
You
fool,
think you
sir.
can shoot anybody like that?
Sir, I'm not
You
a
are a big
fool.
fool. Who are you?
I am not a fool, sir.
As at the time I
Don't call me a
graduated,
fool.
you were in primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for
You
which
can't
order?
call me a fool.
And this, you will see whether you will not lose here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go
I'm
and put up here.
an
Go and put
officer.
up here.
I'm not a fool, sir.
Don't
I'm
hang
an
with you.
officer.
So come on. You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody. We are acting on orders.
Go and develop here. Let me see you.
Regular officer, you won't come and
We are going to now get out.
Director Press.
All right, that's a dramatic one there, between the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and police officer, that was, identified as Yerima. I beg your pardon, not a police officer, a military officer identified as Yerima. And, a lot has been said on social media, but we're just going to be taking a few comments as regarding this while we bring it down to the house here and we'll discuss about it. So the first comment we have here is from Jama, and Jama says, now this soldier is standing on order that is higher than Wiki. That is why he has such audacity. If you think it's because he is brave, then you don't know Nigeria. Okay. The next comment is coming from the Burning One, and this person says, wow, this officer just renewed my hope in the Nigerian Armed Force. So proud of him. Okay. The last but not the least comment is coming from Ugo Moke. I think this is the third comment. It says, a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with no regard for the Nigerian military colors. Well done, young man. I think say him na bulldozer. He should have bulldozed his way in. Power is fleeting. Stronger men have come and gone. All right, that's all the comments we have here for this particular topic here on Social Buzz on Global Morning. But before we end our discussion, we know how we do it. I have with me Uyi Agbomofwebe. Good morning, Uyi.
God Chuku, it's so good to see you.
All right. Thank you so much, Uyi. You look good, by the way.
Well, thank you. It's a great thing that you and I are not having a face-off today.
All right. So, Uyi, I know we all have seen this video. It had made round on social media, and different part of the videos, even surfaced on the internet where, the military officers started having issues with the police officers there. They were all, bantering words and giving themselves hot. But then let's even focus on the minister of the FCT and that of this soldier identified as Yerima, is a military, I think it's the naval officer, yes. And his name is Yerima. So what do you think about this video? Because it's, I don't know, to me I feel like the minister was actually a bit out of the way, to be very honest. But what do you think?
Okay, here's the thing. You and I were on the ground when this all played out yesterday. So it was basically about the video that we saw.
Definitely.
And of course, we have seen people react to these across social media platforms and even traditional media. But here's the thing. Again, going by this video, it was obvious that there was an altercation between the minister and the naval officer, A.M. Yerima.
Yeah.
All right. And then it raises questions about a number of things. However, we need to establish that there are a couple of layers to the issue. First of all, the minister was there, we understand, all right, to enforce an order or to enforce a kind of okay, well, he was there to play his role as the Minister of the FCT because we understand there was an alleged land grabbing that was ongoing. The Department of Development Control had been there already with an order which was not honored, reportedly, and then the minister had come to ensure that that order was carried out to the letter, which, as of yesterday, we understand did not happen. But right in the middle of it, there had been a handful of naval officers there who ensured the minister and those who came from the Department of Development Control did not gain access or couldn't carry out that obligation or that particular assignment, right? But here's where it gets very interesting. First of all, the minister is the quote-unquote governor of the Federal Capital Territory, and as such, he's within his territory and he's doing his job. But for many people, how he did that job or how he set out to do that job now becomes the problem, right? Again, in light of the altercation and the exchange that happened afterwards. And then the other gentleman, the military, the naval officer on his part, is a member of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, right? And President Muhammadu Buhari is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Not President Muhammadu Buhari at this point now.
I should say, I beg your pardon, I should say President Bola Tinubu.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. Now, the president being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then you also now look at the other side of it, where the same president is the principal of the FCT minister.
Very well.
All right, so both of them ultimately have the same boss. But the question is, what was the mandate of the naval officer and his team there?
Okay.
Why were they there? Who owns that land? Was there an encroachment? Was there already an infraction committed that the FCT administration, under the leadership of Nyesom Wike, was there to correct? You see, we must look at these issues from a very dispassionate standpoint. Anybody can be the minister of FCT tomorrow. However, what has now become the news, Ogochukwu, which of course you are going to be talking about again, by the way, on Social Boss, all right, later, is the fact that the minister did not carry himself as an executive on that level. There are those who say, in fact, they believe that what should have happened was, having realized that these naval officers had been given a mandate to ensure that that particular order was not enforced, he should have escalated to his boss, maybe worst case scenario, to the Chief of Naval Staff to ensure that these issues are resolved amicably. We understand that the Chief of Naval Staff, again, has put out a statement. I don't know how true it is. I've not seen it. All right, but we must understand that this ought not to have been a case of, as we say in pidgin parlance, gbasgbos. All right, it should have been something that was diplomatic, something that was, with some decorum, which we didn't see in this case, because we heard the minister saying you are a fool, and the gentleman saying I'm not a fool, you can't call me a fool, and things like that. So the minister gave the public the basis to begin to whip up sentiment in favor of the naval officer who, from the video you see, conducted himself professionally based on the order he also got from his boss. So, but we hope this does not escalate beyond all of this on account of show of force and all of that.
Honestly, I think this is just show of power at the end of the day, because this actually left me wondering. I asked myself, if it was just an ordinary civilian that was standing to say, I was given an order from a boss or from my boss, who is also a civilian, that this land shouldn't be assessed, how would it have turned out to be? And because he's a military man, I think that's why they all accorded him that respect. No one touched him. It was just only banter of words. But I was just imagining if it was just a civilian who was trying to protect the property of his boss or his own property, it would have been a different case. Perhaps maybe an arrest would have been carried out, or even serious beating at this point. But anyways, like you said, I think kudos to the military officer there who was able to actually conduct himself and worked again, according to the order he was given. But for the minister, I think he has to work on himself on that part and apologize properly, for insulting the young man for doing his duties. Anyways, thank you so much, Uyabomofwegbe, for joining me this morning.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. All right, that's all we have for you today on Social Boys here on Global Morning. Until I come your way next time, please stay with us as Global Morning continues.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, so our first discussion on the program today takes a look at sub-national governors with Edo State rights in the middle of it. Today exactly marks 1 year since Governor Monday Ukpebholo took over office, and it's interesting how that was seen so much of back and forth between the ruling APC in the states and the opposition, the People's Democratic Party. On the one hand, there are those who believe that the PDP has not recovered from the loss that it suffered in the September election of last year, which of course brought about the government of Monday Ukpebholo. On the other hand, however, there are still those who believe very strongly that the 8 years of Obaseki in government in the states has raised the bar of leadership to a point where the APC today, they say, is struggling and seriously playing catch-up. However, what are the implications of this for the average Edo man or woman? What have we seen the last 1 year regarding infrastructure development? How much has the economy moved in the states? And what exactly are the reforms being introduced across sectors by the APC-led governments in Edo State? Those are the conversations we're having this morning on the program. And I'm joined by somebody who had been a commissioner in the government of former Governor Godwin Obaseki. to help us find sense, perspective, and context in this conversation. Honorable Ogbedi Ifalu-Isibo, it's a pleasure to have you in the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, sir.
Great. So you and I talked not very long ago about developments in Edo State, but things have escalated real quick in that state now. There are those who say your party, the PDP, is a toothless bulldog as far as the opposition is concerned. What's your sentiment?
Well, I would like to talk about my party, the PDP, later, because I'm not also impressed with what we have done in the last 2 years, 2.5, since the ascension of President Tinubu. I don't even think we're a dog right now, let alone being a toothless bulldog, because we have not been able to stand up for the Nigerian people, to speak up for the Nigerian people, and to hold the failed APC administration to account. And that is a failure on our part, and we must take criticism for it. However, I think we're rebuilding, we're re-energizing, we're re-strategizing.
At the state or national level?
No, at the national level.
Okay.
No, at the state level, the PDP in Edo State is fantastic. I mean, what we've done, it can't be compared to what any opposition has done anywhere in Nigeria. So we use the PDP in Edo State as an example for other states to borrow. But our major worry, my major worry, and the worry of most of Nigerians is the PDP at the national level and how they've not been able to rise to the occasion. But we're regrouping, like I said, and we're hoping that with the little back and forth we're having, leading up to our convention, is not able to deter us. The PDP is still going to go ahead with our national convention in Ibadan, and we're sure that we'll be able to bring up new leaders that will be able to pilot the affairs of the party so that we can be that viable option that the Nigerian people have for a viable democracy.
Edo State government marks 1 year today, and we understand there's a line of activities to mark all of that. Beyond the Jamboree and the Razzmatazz, what exactly will the Edo man be celebrating? I know I'm giving you a field day already because you're in the opposition, but can we look at the Okpebholo government and say in the last 12 months the government has not done anything commendable?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to be addressing that question on two fronts. First of all, as a Benin man, and that is what is most important, because I'm a Benin man first before I'm a politician from Edo State. And the general perception of the Edo man today, you talk about 1 year anniversary, but on the streets, they call it 365 wasted days, because the last 365 days has been focused on Governor Obaseki and the destruction of all that he built. We are saying that, yes, as an opposition party that the APC is, you can hate Governor Obaseki as a person, but you don't have to hate the development that he brought, and to that extent, destroy whatever he has built, because he didn't build them with his own personal resources. He built them with taxpayers' monies. And so if it's to the benefit of the average Edo taxpayer, destroying it just because of your animosity against him, it shows lack of leadership, it shows lack of reasoning, and it shows very poor hygiene in our politics. We're looking forward to the day where a new administration, regardless of the political party, can build upon what the previous administration laid. That is how development is built across the world. Sadly, what we're saying is a sustained and a continued attack, and not just what Governor Obaseki built, but the foreign investment and local investment he attracted to Edo State. They're going after the Museum for West African Arts that is built to provide 25,000 jobs for Edo people. They're going after the Radisson Hotel, a 160-room hotel that is going to employ Edo people, prosper the economy, improve the lots of the people, and also improve the GDP of the state. They're going after Oshoma Power, an indigenous power production company in Edo State, owned by a Benin man, solving electricity problems for the Edo people. They're going after the special, the Salabasanjo Hospital that is to provide healthcare needs, secondary and tertiary, for the Edo people. They're going after the legacies of Governor Obaseki for the last 1 year. We cannot point out one thing that this government has commissioned, because there are low-hanging fruits in government. 1 year is enough to have said, okay, this is my plan or the policy for 4 years, but this is what we've done in 1 year, and these are the results to show that we've done this in 1 year. But Edo State government has received over 200 billion naira from the federal allocation and from IGR, but we cannot point to any measurable benefit that has accrued to the Edo people. If you ask the average APC man, he tells you, oh, we're building a flyover at Ramat Park. or build another flyover at Sapele Road. Those are the two things that the government has spent 1 year doing. But the bulk of it, you were either making mockery of the Edo people, making merchandise of governance, campaigning for the president for 2027, as though that is the whole purpose of the government. But indeed, that is the purpose of the government. Because the moment Okpebholo was sworn into office, his focus has always been about Aswadi 2027. In their books, there's no 2026. They want to jump from 2025 to re-elect the president and give him 2.5 million votes that do not exist. This, you see, the mind of a man is the standard of the man. We cannot expect Governor Okpebholo, with due respect to him, to function beyond the capacity of his mind. That's why you will see the governor, when the number of those who have collected PVCs in Edo State is just about 2 million of everybody, talking about 3.5 million votes to the president. That's why you can see a man who is going to fire commissioners who do not wear their Siwaju cap to come for ESCO. How are we a cost people? Why have we reduced governance to the gutters, where it is now about the cap that you wear to ESCO, not the quality of the thoughts that you have or the contributions that you are going to bring? We have reduced governance to the lowest level in African history, and it is sad that this is coming from the Benin Kingdom. This is coming from Edo State, where we had the Godwin Obaseki, where we had quintessential individuals as commissioners in his administration. We were the cynosure of all eyes in Edo State. But sadly, when you talk about Edo State today, people are laughing at you, people are mocking you, calling your governor a content creator.
Interesting. I want to talk about the Museum of West African Art called MOWA. I don't think in the last 1 year of the Okpebholo government there has been any more controversial issue than this one, right? So on Sunday was an embarrassing situation we had in Edo State. We've seen the Benin monarch come out to speak to some of these issues. And he also indicted the former governor, your former principal, Obaseki, talking about how that there had been alterations at some point to some certain documents that had been presented to him and things like that. And then we also have issues around how that the former governor had to bring his business ally from a personal standpoint as against the overall interest of Edo people and things like that. Help our viewers understand what exactly the issues are.
I think it's just a lack of hygiene in our politics. And I want to consecrate the throne in this matter. The Oba of Benin is not hateful of anybody.
Right.
The Oba of Benin doesn't have an axe to grind. That is our king. We are his subjects, and we are subject and submit case of a contention with the palace. It is a case of the APC government versus the PDP government wanting to tear down whatever the PDP government built. And let me clear the misconceptions. There has been a lot of wrong information, misinformation, deliberate disinformation that has been peddled for so long and has permeated the hearts of the Benin people. The Museum for West African Arts has no connection with the return of the Benin artifacts.
Oh, they are two distinct issues.
They are two exclusive events, if you allow me to use that. The Benin, the artifacts that were returned by the French in 2011, the ones that were returned by the Germans in 2022, and the ones that we just received in June of 2025 from Netherlands were all handed over to the Oba of Benin. It was gazetted by President Buhari. So he has custody, as the custodian of the Benin culture and heritage. Right. He has custody of all those artifacts. I hear now that they are domiciled in the Benin Museum. I hear they're having some kind of exhibition over it. But that is a totally different idea with what MOWA is doing. MOWA is a museum for West African arts. They are hosting contemporary arts from artists across West Africa. We had folks from Ghana, from Togo, from Senegal, and from Nigeria, of course, showcasing the artwork on Sunday when those hooligans, those derelicts, those mental hobos invaded the place to terrorize international visitors. How can it be that we had 4 ambassadors who were locked up in that place alongside high-class diplomats and creative lovers from across the country, from across the world, who had come to Benin, the cradle of African civilization, to enjoy beautiful arts? But they've left now with the impression that the Benin people are hostile people, that the Benin people are terrorists, because that was the impression that we gave them. Because how could you have invaded private property, chanting all kinds of songs, wielding weapons? These are the poorly informed and poorly educated ones amongst us. That is why Okpebholo must step up his leadership, because you must educate the people. But again, we have to also ask ourselves, what level of exposure has he got that he can transmit or transmogrify, if you ask me, to those people? So the issues are clear. MOWA is a museum for West African arts, and it has nothing to do with the Benin Royal Museum. As a Benin man, I hold the view, just like the Oba has espoused, we should have the Benin Royal Museum that should be built to house the returned artifacts. Let us also celebrate all that we have, all that was stolen from us. And the notion or the narration that monies were given when the artifacts were returned is not true. All over the world where there has ever been a return of artifacts, there has never been a case where there was a financial transaction or a compensation or a financial dealing with whoever was receiving those artifacts, because it was seen as it was framed as restitution, in recognition of historical misdeeds that happened in the past. So it was a transfer of ownership from the German government to the Nigerian government, from the Dutch to the Nigerian government, from the French to the Nigerian government. There was no financial compensation whatsoever. It has never happened before. So when people or these APC folks tell the Edo people that the artifacts were returned to the Oba of Benin, but the monies that should go with it were given to Godwin Obaseki, it makes mockery of their education and their exposure.
Interesting, but there's still a lot of issue around the MOWA. We understand there had been some sort of bad blood between the palace and your former principal long before the Okpebholo governments came on stream. Are those issues still not playing out today?
Okay, I don't think there was bad blood between the Oba of Benin and his subject, Godwin Obaseki. Godwin Obaseki is a Benin man, and he cannot have bad blood with the king. So what I think was the case was maybe some level of poor communication of what the issues really were. The Oba had his view of what he wanted, and we strongly hold that view, that all that he wanted should be done the way he wanted it, so long as it benefits the entirety of the Edo people. And the view of the governor at the time was that let us have both structures side by side, so that they can complement each other. And the Oba's daughter has said earlier this year that the Oba Akenzo Cultural Complex was going to be converted to the Benin Royal Museum. This was almost 7 months after MOWA had been pre-commissioned. So they're two very different issues. And as a people, we want to see that conversion done so that we can have those artifacts housed there. It was not really a case of bad blood. We want to, as much as possible, let the people really know the truth, that it was just poor communication between government at the time and the royalty, and all those issues should be resolved, because at the end of the day, if MOWA dies, the Edo people suffer for it.
Okay, finally on that matter now, we understand the state governor has revoked the CFO of that entity, and then of course a committee has been set up led by former Governor Adams Oshiomhole, who used to be your principal's friend. Some people say his political benefactor. What are the implications of these developments? Okay,
first of all, Adams Oshiomhole has no business being in a committee that should oversee or to investigate MOWA, because when the Supreme Court gave her final judgment, Adams Oshiomhole, we saw it on video, telling the governor to make sure he revokes MOWA. There was no fact-finding at the time. It was just poor politics, petty politics, primitive partisanship. And I don't think, with due respect to him, Adams Oshiomhole should have anything to do with that. In any case, if you have set up a committee to investigate something, you wrote a letter to the House of Assembly to investigate it, why then go ahead to revoke the CFO of the MOWA? Is it that you don't have any faith or confidence in the House of Assembly, or you don't think those who you are members of the committee that you set up have a developed mind enough to advise you, that you went ahead to preempt the judgment or their reports to revoke the CFO of MOWA? I think this borders really on the capacity to lead and the capacity to have an open mind to understand that development is not about self, but about the people. I think that we should ascend above this primitive, mundane politics of dragging Edo State to the mud, and we should focus more on development, because at the end of the day, it should be about the Edo people.
Okay, so let's talk about opposition. Opposition is believed and expected to hold governments accountable. I mean, you put government on its toes, which we understand your party is trying to do, particularly in Edo State at this point in time. But then there's a challenge. We're seeing members of the House of Assembly, including the Speaker, Blessing Agbebako, exit the PDP for the APC. We're seeing people like Chief Osi Dan Obi, the former South-South leader of your party, also leave the party. Dan Obi had become an iconic political leader or the whole time Shomole was governor because he was leading the PDP. And they say no leader ever led the PDP like him as far as Edo State is concerned at the level of chairmanship. This has further deepened the crisis within your party, hasn't it?
Well, I think what it has done is not to deepen the crisis, because there's no crisis in the Edo PDP. It has only weakened our numerical strength, and we must submit ourselves to that fact. That politics is about numbers, and when you have members of your party who were elected on the platform of your party, leave your party to join another party, first of all, it tells you about the content of their character. It also tells you about their ability to substantiate a claim of the mandate that was given to them by the people. If the people voted for you under the platform of the PDP, and you then took their mandate to the APC, you have made mockery of the people. But let's leave that on that side. The PDP in Edo State, we have had a fair share of our glitches. I call them glitches because they're not a catastrophe. We are still very solid in Edo State, even as we've lost members of our party, and we still have members of the PDP who are still causing internal crisis, who have refused to leave. These ones have obviously joined the APC. They have appointments in the APC, but they still want to be called members of the PDP.
They still can't carry members of your party.
Well, that's how they pose themselves to be, because my very big brother, Chief Dan Obi, I hold him in very high esteem. He was a fantastic chairman, but he's the chairman of the governing council of the Ambusali University, an appointment given to him by Governor Perolo of the APC. He's also the chairman of the governing council of Rwanda College of Education in Eastern Nigeria, an appointment given to him by President Tinubu in the APC. So you cannot be enjoying appointments by the APC and still profess to be a leader of the PDP when even the National Working Committee of the PDP had expelled him from the party last year. So with due respect to him, he is not a member of the PDP. We think that he should be bold enough to declare his APC-ship. I know he's not willing to, because the APC is a party of, as the APC Edo State chairman said, not my words, he said that the APC is a party of zombies, that they have no sense and they have no break. Those were his words. You could fact check that. So I'm sure that people like Chief Dan Obi do not want to be seen as a zombie, so he doesn't want to openly join the APC. That is why he's still trying to clutch on straws and remain in the PDP. But the fact is clear that the PDP is waxing stronger in Edo State. I mean, we are at the top of our game in Edo State. Anybody will tell you that, anybody who is a political observer in Edo State, that the APC is dead, that the APC is on the ground. That is why the APC chairman is either calling members of the party zombies, or the governor is either not able to arrange his thoughts, can't call his budget figures, can't accentuate his thoughts, cannot lead the people, cannot lead the party. They're having crisis with the Shomole, they're having crisis with, the APC came to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what the other people are saying. And I can tell you, you can monitor what they're doing now when they're talking about the 1 year in office. There's nothing to show. All the projects are going about, so they were going about to repaint the roads we did. They're going about to repaint the schools we did, to fence the hospitals we built, and calling that a 1 year of achievement. So the other people, it's been 365 wasted days, and that is what it is.
There's a practice we have seen in this part of the world where even if you lose election, let's say you are a gubernatorial candidate, you stay back and you continue to provide leadership for your party. We're seeing even immediate past governors do that. We're seeing candidates who lose election do that. However, with your party, it appears there's a flip to that. For virtually 1 year, the former governor Obaseki has not been on this soil, for example. One would have thought he's leading from the front, especially at this crucial time of your party in the States. We understand Dr. Asuo Ighodalo has played that role as much as he can, coming from the corporate background and things like that. Does that not set your party at a very critical disadvantage?
Not at all, because Governor Godwin Obaseki is a member of the party. right? And he came, he served, he did his best. He has moved on to other things in life. He is not a professional politician who haven't served as governor. You want to go to the Senate. You want to be in charge of the party. You want to rule the party. You want to oppress the party. That is a traditional politician whose only existence is about politics. But Godwin Obaseki has moved on to better things. Yesterday, he was at Oxford University teaching or giving a lecture, and talking about the Edo Best, his Edo Best program, and how he prospered education in Edo State. That's what you expect from 21st century leaders, that after serving and have served well, you leave the political space for a bit to go improve yourself and tell the world what you did. That's what he's doing. And he is very involved in all that we're doing in the States and in the country. Yes, he may not be around at the moment, but he's still very much involved, just like Mr. Asfaw Ighodalo. And those two individuals who are, although leaders of the party, but they are not the nucleus of the party. They are not the brain or the heart of the party. The heart of the party is the members of the party scattered across Edo State who are still very involved in party politics, who are still the ones mobilizing people for voter registration, who are still the ones going from door to door like Jehovah's Witness, winning souls to join the PDP. And that is what politics is really about. It's about the grassroots. And so we are not destabilized at the grassroots. Let no one deceive you. Yes, we have had a few people who were elected by the same people leave, but those who elected them, those who have the power as per the constitution, still remain in the PDP and we're still very strong. And we've told the Okola administration that you're going to be a one-term administration. There's no doubt about it. He has done 1 year. He has 3 more years to go. Let us hope that the man will be able to put himself together in the next 3 years to at least do something that he will be remembered for. Because for today, all that we remember him for is an attempt to destroy what Godwin Obaseki built. And the truth is this: he would never be the man Godwin Obaseki is. Godwin Obaseki was a quintessential leader who took leadership and governance to the highest level no Nigerian governor has ever taken it to. Edo State was the very first state and the only state in West Africa to go completely paperless. All government correspondence were done without paper. We're the first to do it. Sadly, they've gone back to paper. They've gone back to hiding files and stealing money with pens. Edo State was the very first state, still today, to have built 3,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables connecting all local government councils in the state. Today, they have paused all that development, they have destroyed it. Edo State was the only state that had offered free internet access to over 60 access points across the state. Today, it has been destroyed. Nobody talks about that again. Edo State was the only state. In the space of 6 years, we had 2 modular refineries, 2 petrochemical plants, 2 ethanol plants, and 2 power generation plants. The only state in Nigeria to have achieved that in 6 years. Unprecedented, unexampled, unparalleled, all done because of the ingenuity of Godwin Obaseki. People think he came before his time. He was not the kind of governor that Nigerians could understand because his thoughts were far above the average Nigerian thinking. How could you imagine that even when we were in government as ESCO, I didn't have to go to the governor's office to have ESCO meetings. We could all do it on our phones in our offices. The governor sent you a mail or a memo, it drops in real time, and you have 48 hours to respond to it, or else you're queried. There was efficiency and effectiveness in the civil service. Edo State was the first state where all the civil servants were digital because nobody was holding files any longer. Everybody had to log into the ERP when they came to work, and all memos and mails are done on the ERP. It's unprecedented in West Africa and even in Africa. That was done by Godwin Obaseki. So from us to have moved from a Godwin Obaseki to a Monday Okwewelo, who was unable, his very first budget, that's to tell you that the man did not even go through the budget figures he was going to submit to the House of Assembly. He couldn't. From that step to another, we've seen a complete mockery of governance. You're either threatening Peter Obi, he can't come to Edo State. You're either making unreasonable comments, or we're seeing hooligans, men who should be productive, running around with you screaming, oh, the son of Jesus Christ, the son of Asiwaju, the apostle of... We are not a defeated people. Edo State is not cursed. However, it appears to be so because of the poor leadership we have in Benin today, in Edo today. And I tell you the reason. It's not because I have any personal grievance or animosity against the governor. That is the level, that is the capacity of his mind. The man feels that if I don't have people running after me and chanting my name, I will not have that self-worth as a governor. So for him, it's about building his esteem. That if he doesn't have those people, men who should be productive, running around him and praising him, he won't feel like he's a governor. And you know, you can't blame him, because if you take a look at his antecedents, you can't really pinpoint one or two things that he has done as a person. You can't really say, okay, this is where he went to school, these are courses he has done, how he has improved himself. You know, he was a child of chance. He was a child of luck. And we have seen how luck has brought underdevelopment and mediocrity to governance in Edo State.
All right, so let's take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, we'll just notch things up a little and look at the national level of the PDP. What exactly is happening? Quite a number of court orders have come out the last few days, the latest one being barely 24 hours ago, courtesy of former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. What exactly is the PDP that ruled this country for 16 straight years confronted by at this point in time? We'll talk to you about that and more after this break. Do stay with us. National level now, the PDP. I spoke with a very high up member of your party on live television here a few months ago, and I asked him pointedly, is there any chance the PDP would join this coalition or merge with any party going into 2027? And he said no, that the PDP would rather collaborate, and he also explained. However, as it stands right now, is the PDP reinventing itself, or is it hanging to past glory?
That's an excellent question, you know, and I'm trying to provide answers that will not betray my emotions. I ordinarily expect a whole lot better from a party that was in government for 16 years. We expect, as members of the party, a lot better leadership of our party at the national level. We are offended and totally disgruntled by the back and forth that we see to be happening. It's either the national chairman is having an issue with the secretary, or the legal advisor is having an issue with the organizing secretary, rather having court orders flying all over the place, and it only shows lack of clear leadership. But we still have solid leaders who are still in the party, who are still trying to revive the party. That's why, in my opinion, the National Convention is a big deal for us. We must be able to elect new thinkers, smart thinkers, today's men, not yesterday's men. We must be able to bring in today's men into our politics, and we have to collaborate. The opposition parties in Nigeria today are struggling to survive. We cannot go into the 2027 election the way we are today. We will have to synergize. We will have to collaborate. I don't know if it's going to be a merger, but we would have to. So that we can all be pulling in one direction. Because the APC wants a one-party state. The government has failed woefully to address the issues that bother the Nigerian people. They are choking the Nigerian people. They have their knees on our throats. And the PDP and the other opposition parties ought to be the ones pulling the APC up the throats of Nigerians. But we are weakened. We are weakened because not just in our numbers, but in our leadership. We must be able to sit down and reorganize ourselves on the national scale to see how we can salvage Nigeria from these terrorists who have come in through the back door to destroy the lives of the people. Terrorists in the sense that when there's so much terror going on across the country, there's high-level insecurity, unprecedented. If you're going to travel by road today, you must have written your will before you embark on that journey. Or you should tell your family and friends how to raise money to come give to terrorists, you know, so they could release you. It's so bad. It has never been this bad. And I can tell you, it is underreported. We're having several states in northern Nigeria that almost half of the states is being run by terrorist groups. That is the reality we're seeing today. And this is a testimony of those who are in those environments. So the APC has failed. There's no doubt about it. There's no sector of the economy that we can say is thriving or is bubbling or that is making Nigerians happy. The gross happiness index of the Nigerian people is at its lowest today. So it is easy. Is it easy to topple, not to topple, yes, but to topple democratically the APC government? It should be easy, to get votes from the Nigerian people to drive away these marauders in the APC who have come to destroy the nation. It should be easy ordinarily if we had our acts together. And that is why it is painful to the average Nigerian, because we're looking up to the Labour Party, to the ADC, to the PDP to come salvage this situation. And there's a sense in which we have to come together to make sure that Nigerians, we cannot afford 4 more years of President Bola Tinubu. It will be the end of Nigeria. He's not only trying to have a one-party state, he's also building strong men and not institutions. Any society that is focused on building strong men is a defeated society. Yesterday we saw a video of one of the strong men that is being built, harassing a military officer. And one could wonder, is this a country? Is this a democracy? Where a civilian is harassing a military officer? Where is the respect for the military man who has put his life on the line for the Nigerian people? So it's because we have built strong men. And these strong men, I don't know what they drink, they see themselves as the Jesus Christ of Nigeria. They have this Messiah complex that they are the ones who have the solutions to the problems. How can it be that the minister of the FCC is the one who wants to go and enforce anything? Let us fix culpability where it is. As minister, you have a role to play. They are enforcement officers. What is the business of the minister going to do what he was trying to do yesterday? And look at how he made mockery of the Nigerian government. Look at how he made a mess of political leadership. See how he showed his lack of diplomacy. In fact, it was like a child who was ranting because they are taking sweets from his mouth. That was an embarrassment to Nigerian people, an embarrassment to the APC, an embarrassment to President Bola Tinubu. And if there's any sense in the governance of today, Minister Wike should not be minister by today.
But is it not a shame on the PDP, your party, that Wike has not been in any way punished?
Well, we don't even see Wike, with due respect to him, as a member of the PDP.
But he's a strong influence in your party.
Sadly so. Sadly so, because the administration of Bola Tinubu has built strong men that can dictate to people what the outcome of a court process will be. Strong men that can tell you that if I want Fubara removed as governor, if I want him impeached as governor, I will do it. Strong men that will tell you that whatever I want that will happen in Rivers State, that will happen. That is a fair society where we have built strong men, and that is why we cannot, for the life of us, allow President Tinubu to have 4 more years. Because when he's done with Nigeria, if he has 8 years, we will have very weak institutions, we will have very strong men, and we will have a defeated population who cannot express themselves, who cannot hold government to account, and we will have no opposition. Because those of us who will remain in opposition, we're going to be, harassed, oppressed, intimidated, terrorized to silence. We're only able to talk now because we have not gotten to that level where we have become defeated inside of us. Because if a man is defeated inside, he's useless outside. They've not been able to defeat us inside. That's why we can still talk. And we have to continue to have that vibe, the verve, the zest, the zeal, the enthusiasm, the gusto, the yeast to speak up and speak out in a democracy. Because if we are denied that propensity to speak for the people, then democracy would have died. That is what they intend to do. That is why they are using all forms of oppression to cajole and to force and to harass and to threaten PDP members to join the APC, because they think that it's in the numbers of politicians that you have in your party. They're not taking into consideration that the Nigerian people are the ones who should decide, according to the Constitution, who leads them, who deploys their resources to their benefit. But because they have tried to defeat the mind of the people, such that they want to strangle the Nigerians, to take every kobo they have in their pockets, so that when it's time for elections, They toss 10 naira to you and it's like 10 million naira, because through the ages, through the first 4 years, they have made it impossible for you to prosper. We can't feed ourselves, we can't feed our children, we can't pay our school fees, we cannot even survive. They said that it is now difficult for the man who is alive to survive under the APC government, and this is just the beginning. What they have in stock for the Nigerian people next year is unexampled. I'm very sure that maybe when you come on TV next year, you won't be able to wear a suit because you won't be able to afford one.
Okay, maybe I should take advantage of today's economy and buy a few more suits.
As much as you can.
All right, let's begin to wrap up now. Let's talk about where we are with your party. We have seen governors leave your party, sitting governors. I mean, it's unprecedented in Nigeria's history. What do you think, given what you know as an insider, as a party man, is the unique selling proposition that the APC is advancing to these governors?
Well, I think governors leaving is not new. We've seen it before. We saw how governors, left to join the PDP, under President Obasanjo, and we've seen how it has played out, through the years. We have seen that it is not sustainable. At the end of the day, water will find its level. Yes, we're having governors for their own very selfish reasons go to join the APC. I mean, there's no sense in, if you really know that you are performing as governor, if you really know that the people's vote is what will determine, you would bank on the people. You would bank on what you're doing. But we're creating a Nigeria today where the president determines who will be governor, where the president determines whose results will be announced by INEC. That is where we are drifting to. That is why these governors who want second tenure are afraid. They're not joining because they love the APC. Of course not. Who loves the APC? They're not joining because President Tinubu is performing. Of course not. He's not performing. They're not joining because there's some kind of governance wizardry that he has propped up. There's no such thing. They're joining because they are afraid to lose elections, and they want the presidency to manipulate the process for them like he did in Edo State. The president told APC politicians, I will give you Edo State. Regardless of the votes of the Edo people, regardless of the wishes of the Edo people, he said, I will give you Edo State, and he made good his promise. He gave Monday Okerolo, someone who should have been a councillor in Udomi, he gave him the governorship ticket of the APC, and he made him governor of Edo State. And see where Edo is today. And so governors who are performing like the governor of Enugu State, one would have thought that with the level of your performance, you would bank on the people of your state to re-elect you. But he knows that INEC may be compromised. He knows that the police may be compromised. He knows that the votes may be compromised. And he needs to be on the good side of the president. Because, like I said, we have built strong men. In a democracy, the president should be afraid to make such a statement like, I will give you Edo State. You're not a voter in Edo State. You will not be in Edo State. You have no business with Edo State. It is because we have built these same strong men. And we have been quiet about it. Nobody called the president, and criticized him for what he did, apart from a few of us who said, no, you cannot tell people I will give you Edo State. Edo State is not a gift to be given to an individual or to a political party. But that is where we find ourselves, and that is why you are seeing these lily-livered governors, these, to a very large extent, weaklings, afraid of losing elections, afraid of fighting for themselves and fighting for the people, run to the APC. APC that is crumbling. I mean, I can speak for 2 hours on the APC, and because APC people call us to tell us that, please, we are in distress here. This is not a home for us. We are just here for the sake of the convenience. We don't want to EFCC to harass us. We don't want the police to harass us. We don't want to lose elections. That's why we're here. But we know that this is not a home. Please don't even come and join us. That is what they tell us. I have friends, in the administration, at the federal and state level, give me these truths, give me these facts that, oh boy, it is not with the way it looks here. We are suffering here, we are dying here, but we cannot speak up because we have been threatened not to speak up. But you see, the Nigerian people will have to rise up for themselves. We will need to have more people speaking up. I'm not afraid of anything. I have not stolen. I mean, with how vocal I have been through the years. I was commissioner in Edo State. If they had anything against me, where Obaide has stolen money, or where he has done XYZ, they would have come up with it by now. But there's nothing. And that is why I will continue to speak up and to tell people that your chance to be in public office is your chance to excel. It's your chance to write your name on the sands of time. It's not the time to enrich yourself. I came from the US to come and be commissioner in the state. My economic profile, if you allow me, dropped by 100%. I left Boston Scientific, a multi-billion-dollar company in America, to come work for the Edo people. For me, it was about the Edo people, not about whatever Obaseki was paying. Whatever I was earning as commissioner for 1 month, I was making in 4 days in the US. So it wasn't about money. And so nobody can hold to say, oh, this is the money that was appropriated to him, that he mismanaged. You will never find such. And I think that our generation, we should be able to see governance like that. We should be able to see politics like that, where politics has to be about bringing the most development to the people more than self-gain. The houses our fathers built, are they living in their houses today? The cars that they bought, what has become of it today? Why should a man have 10 cars? Why should a man have 5 houses? You live in Nigeria, you have a house in London, you have a house in Texas, you have a house in Russia. It is this primitive accumulation of wealth is a demonic thing that the average Nigerian must exorcise himself from. That ghost of wanting to steal from the public, that ghost of wanting to accumulate wealth. We must exorcise ourselves from that ghost and see that politics should be about the people. It should be about development. And I say this boldly because I come from a family where we saw politics as for public good. My father was in the House of Reps. He was criticized for not accumulating wealth. But he raised us to see politics as an avenue to write your names in the sands of time. That is why today in Edo State, the best performed member of the House of Reps in the history of Edo State since 1999 is late Honorable Falu Isibo. That's my father. That's why I can speak the way I speak. That's why I can act the way I act, because I was raised right to see politics as an avenue to amplify the gains of the people and not for self.
We'd like to say a big thank you to you, Honorable Ogbede Falu Isibo, for coming to share with us today. We do not take your valuable insights for granted. We hope to talk to you again as we make progress.
Thank you so much, sir.
We're taking a quick break, everyone. When we return, Ramsey will engage our next guests, looking at where we are today in terms of the state of the nation. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
So many thanks for joining us on Global Morning once again. It's now time for us to look at some other very vital issues. Well, we can't finish talking about the things happening in Nigeria. It keeps unfolding by the day. Reactions and actions, everything put together. But then, what else can we say than working towards the growth and development of our nation? We'll be looking at something very important this morning, and of course, this is in a bid to make sure everything go on smoothly. Partisan politics, all right, and oppositions in Nigeria. What do you think about it? It's going to form the crumbs of our discussion this morning, as I have a former lawmaker right here in the studio and an APC chieftain in the person of Honorable Cletus Obun. It's good to have you join us in the studio this morning, sir.
Thanks for having me once again on Global Morning.
Yes, the issue of defection keeps happening on a daily basis. Don't you think we are closer to a one-party system?
I don't know what a one-party system looks like in this context where you have people, we have 18 political parties and more still applying. And then where you have governors from other political parties just winning election only yesterday, some 72 hours ago, and we are still talking about one-party state. That person can't defect in the next few days because he would have defected to win election. He did not. He stood his ABGA and won his election. I mean, Soludo, the professor. So where is the one-party state? So I do not find it always... you can say that the space is shrinking. In ordinary times, you should also expect that, like all democracies, when you hear about the Tories, the Whigs, the Labour Party, the Conservative Party in the UK, there are more than 10 political parties. In America, there are more than 100 political parties. But what you hear about is the Democrats and the Republicans. So that does not mean there's a two-party state in America. The dominant parties are the ones that are going. So what Nigeria is looking for and going to drifting into is the crystallization of the political space, in which you no longer have a variegated and open field in which every Dick, Tom, and Harry will just come and say, I also ran election, I was a former presidential candidate, I was a former governorship candidate. It becomes a title in Nigeria. This is exactly what is making people begin to think that we are rather crystallizing and getting our polity into the right frame for democracy that we require. Remember SDP NRC, where there was a condensation of the progressives against the conservatives. There was a condensation and a coalition of those who were welfarist in orientation. And when people start telling you that, most people will tell you today, there's no ideology in Nigeria. Who told you that? We have experimented it from the First Republic up to today. We are having it. All we are looking for is looking for a common ground in which we have all these people aggregating and now concentrating in one camp. And then we now know that the conservatives and the progressives are now coming out, because those who came from the labor and the activist movement of anti-military rule, and those who were always cooperating and collaborating with the military to stay in power, and those who believe in welfarist ideology are here from the First Republic to today. The elements that we are now divided into different shades of parties are now coming together. And that aggregation is not going to happen overnight. That's what we are drifting to. So nobody should be afraid that Nigeria is going to drift into. It is not difficult. It is impossible for Nigeria to be a one-party state.
It's difficult. It's not possible.
Yes, it's not impossible. It's clearly difficult, but impossible for Nigeria to be a one-party state.
Okay, but the place of opposition right now, what makes a party or maybe an administration sit up most times is opposition. But we don't seem to be having that kind of opposition with this administration, looking at what is happening in the People's Democratic Party. You know, a lot of people believe, I'm saying this because you are a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress. The PDP was supposed to be the opposition party before ADC and Labour Party, all right? Labour Party following People's Democratic Party, the PDP. But with what is happening in the People's Democratic Party right now, just recently, Lamido has gone to court again to stop the convention. Okay, with all of these things happening, how do you feel as an APC chieftain?
In biblical terms, Jesus will say to you that unless a seed dies, it cannot resurrect and come back as a new plant. And unless you kill your evil ways, the good parts of you cannot come out. That's what's happening to PDP. PDP has reached its apex. It has reached its apogee, and it has to first deteriorate in order to find itself again. If it's going to find itself as ADC, so be it. But clearly, PDP had in it implanted the seeds of self-destruction. That moment of self-destruction is here. So until PDP, which held us hostage for 16 years, decays and purges itself of those tendencies like impunity, outlawing of democratic principles, internal anti-democratic forces, in which court judgments were being arrested, as happened in the case of Wamako in Sokoto State, as it happened in Zamfara at that time, where Justice Salami had to be suspended in order for judgment not to be passed against them, and such other things. Until we get that happen, which is what is happening now, we wouldn't have had the democracy they are looking for. As an APC member, as an APC Foundation member, as a legacy member of the APC, I can assure you that it will not be in the interest of APC not to have opposition. In fact, we will encourage opposition, even if it means funding it. We shall do so if it will not amount to imposition. Otherwise, it is in the interest of APC to generate opposition for itself as a way of sitting up and getting a watchdog over it. But don't also forget that in a democracy, beyond political parties, there are the civil society groups, there are the political activists, there are the student union, the unions, there are the spiritual fathers, there are the traditional institutions which come out in every age and epoch. There is always the generation of, even in the era of oligarchies, there was opposition generated for that epoch. And there is always a room for people to get involved in the policy. By human nature, it is impossible not to have people agitate and kick against certain policies and actions of those in governance and those who are in rulership. Even when you have royalty, even when you have this, like I said, if you have monarchies, even in monarchies, there are opposition. There's opposition within monarchies. Look at what's happening in Britain today. What is happening to the royal house? The elder brother says, "Royal brother, we can no longer accommodate you and your excesses." So royalty is being debased, and therefore you have to leave the palace, and it has to go. So within party, there are errors in human nature in which there must be revolt, position for revolt. So I don't see anything impossible about APC getting its opposition on its own day. So I keep warning, let my party not delude itself that it has arrived. On the contrary, it should be looking out for deep internalization of political structures within itself, reward system, accommodation, openness. If you do not do that on its own, APC will implode. PDP is imploding and running into shreds. It's tearing itself into shreds because the very things that they should have taken note of very early, they did not. So that's a lesson for APC. If a slave does not look at how his fellow slave is being buried alive, you should know that the next one will be the one. So if we do not take our time and look at what is happening to PDP, we are going to be the next victims of overconfidence.
You talked about the People's Democratic Party, the PDP's time in office, and you were talking about the fact that a lot of court cases, things about the judiciary not being independent and all of that. And some of the things you talked about is the same thing the All Progressive Congress is being accused of today, especially the issue of judiciary not having being independent. Let me use the word, because elections have been won from the courts, contrary to how it used to be in Nigeria. And like you said, civil society organizations have been crying out, all right, in the cases of the judiciary not being independent, just like you allegedly said happened during the People's Democratic Party. What do you have to say about that as a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress?
Let me tell you, as ACN, when we took off as opposition to PDP, remember, about 5 of our governors came out of court. Peter Obi of Abga in Anambra State came out of court, was a product of the courts. Adams Oshomole was a product of the court after 3 years of legal struggle. Don't forget Osun State. And like I told you, it was the shift into northwestern Nigeria that brought the court judgments being arrested. I cited Wamako for you, where he was a candidate of AMPP, moved into PDP to run, and they said you can't be a candidate of 2 political parties within the same election cycle. And when the judgment was about to be passed, the judge was suspended. What can be more crude than that? And when you now juxtapose that with what is happening now, the expansion of our law on account of currency, that is contemporaneity. In other words, because of contemporary events, because of amendments to our laws, judgments can no longer be the same. Remember the Amechi case, which the Supreme Court had to even review itself to say that it is parties that run election, not individuals. In the Amechi case, it was the individual that was affected. So because of that, he benefited. But thereafter, the Supreme Court revised itself and reviewed its own judgment and said it is parties that are on the ballot, and therefore it is parties that run election and not individuals. Remember also that before now, like I cited the case of Adams Oshomole, you could run a court case for 3 years. It happened to Peter Obi for 2 years. Adams Oshomole for 3 years. The case of Aregbesola, 2 years. And on and on and on.
In court?
Yes, but the National Assembly had to review those matters in it's 2013. At about 2013 or thereabout, it had to review those cases and said it must be time barred. So you can't go for, the trial court must do it for 180 days. The appeal must be 90 days. And on, Supreme Court must be this. So it was now short-timed in a manner that you don't have to, like they say in court, in legal parlance, there must be an end to litigation. So because of that amendment, you can no longer try cases of 2001 in 2025, because now you have to limit your time, call your witnesses within time and all that. Because of danger and the imperilment of witnesses, now you have to now start putting your witnesses as in figures or in letters, in alphabets, in order to conceal them, to protect witnesses. Things like that didn't used to happen in the past. So when you talk about the judiciary not being free, I don't know how under APC, which has done everything to free, for example, judicial independence was fostered when it was not possible for judges to have their medicals, to have their allowances, and by the Judicial Service Commission. It regulates itself. So nobody again from the executive or from the parliament, beyond making of laws, can go and interfere in how courts are run, how transfers are made about judges, how judgments are made, and things like that. The NJC has been suspending judges, has been carrying ordinary actions and dropping the axe and the gavel at judges at regular times. How is APC has gone to influence judges, how they have whittled down their powers, I cannot see, unless you cite examples for me, how the judiciary is no longer independent. If anything else, this is the best period for the judiciary, because now you find judicial welfare now in place so that judges can now afford it. What I rather would like to see is reforms within the judiciary itself, that judges are still using longhand to record witnesses in court is something that should be avoided. That is archaic. It's anachronistic. Those are things that we should be talking about to free our judiciary, so our judges don't get dying too early immediately after leaving judgment, because you listen to 10 witnesses in a case and you are doing longhand to record them. We should have a better means of doing that. We should be passing judgment. Now you can see judgment now come out faster. You can put them on the internet. You can upload the judgment, so that there's nothing like waiting for 10 days for the judge to go and write and do corrections, and then they are typing them. You no longer have that. There's an improvement. So if you find that, how do the judges, how do the judiciary become hamstrung by the executive or by the legislature? So also you people will jump up and tell you that the parliament is also now rubber stamp. How they rubber stamp when now you can find nominations by the president turned down in a house that is dominated by the same political party? And then when that happens, you say political witch hunt. If a party within itself can weed out its own members, is that not to show that there is transparency? Because a party member is being brought to be appointed, a party member sitting in parliament said, no, this one cannot go because we have this against him. That shows autonomy. That shows independence of the arms of government. Rather than compliment that, rather than commend it, we turn around to criminalize it. We turn around to kill morale of parliamentarians, kill morale of judges, and then begin to look for angels from the sky. No angel is going to come and rule Nigeria, and we're not going to ask for second colonization. We cannot be recolonized.
Okay, let's get back to the issue of opposition. If opposition is not strong anymore, and we have civil society organizations, like you said, let's look at the issue of accountability and transparency as it has to do with governance now. We've had statements coming from the World Bank like only 44% of social investments gets to the Nigerian people. Then we've had issue of money is going to, like this morning on one of the papers, Sanwo-Olu, governor of Lagos State, said, well, this administration has given governors the highest fund so far. It's on the papers. But majority of these governors are APC governors. What can you say about the issue of transparency and accountability? Because the common sense will tell us that as a people who have conscience, you don't even need to be followed before you do the right thing. Do we have that in place with the APC governors? Because as it is right now, they have majority of the governors in Nigeria due to the defections that we are having and still going on.
Now, let me emplace what the context is, so that you don't make the error of saying that those who defected are APC governors just by nomenclature. Labeling is not enough. Context and content is important.
Okay.
Those who won election as APC governors should be judged beyond and above those who defected, because their orientation, they need to be politically quarantined, so they get into the reoriented and reintegrated into the progressive movement which they have come to join. Until that happens, you cannot judge them yet as progressive governors. We are still watching them and trying to introduce them and induct them, and then give them some retreats so that they come and get acquainted with progressive politics. Until that happens, you cannot judge them. So then to the original APC members and governors, you cannot judge a governor of Borno State, for example, Professor Zulu, along the same line as you judge, for example, Diri of Bayelsa, who just joined yesterday. You judge him separately first as a governor, as a person. You cannot also be judging the governor of Cross River State, who in his first address to the state made progressive statements like all pregnant women are to be treated in government hospitals free of charge. WAEC fee is to be paid for every child in Cross River State, whether you are from Cross River or not. That was his first address to Cross River people, and his mantra is people first. That's Cross River State government. That's progressivism. That's a welfarist-oriented individual first before he joined the party. So it is his nature to do so. Like you said, we are people of conscience. So if you take that barometer to measure as a template for progressive politics, and you look at a Zulum, you look at some other governors in Okweboro just came in. Look at what he's doing with Edo State. Barely a year in office.
So he has been conscientized already?
He is already a progressive person, even by nature. Go to Edo State. Before he ever joined politics, he was a community person. His community development strides is what even brought him into politics, first into the Senate, and then now as governor. That is the nature of the man. I'm just naming them for you. I've named Prince Otu of Cross River. I've named Zulum of Borno State. I've named for you Okwebolo, the one who just came into office now. This is his first time as governor. Look at their trajectory, and then you judge them. Then when you now make a man who just joined in now, for example, the man in Delta State just joined, the man in Bayelsa has just joined, a few others are still joining, Akwa Ibom just joined. If it's his nature to be good, there is no way that party is going to make him a bad person. Parties do not define men. It is the conscience and the content of the man that you should be judging first, and that is what people see before they go voting for you. With our digitalization of voting patterns, you should know that there's less and less. What we are now crying about is vote buying and voter apathy. Those are the twin problems we are now facing. No longer ballot box snatching. We've passed that stage now because we have improved on our electoral processes. When Nigerians don't see how our polity is improving by the day, they don't seem to share in the progress we are making as a nation in our democratic processes and in our democratic growth as a nation. People don't want to believe that before today, ballot papers can be snatched and an entire election is thumb printing. It's thumb printed by one person, and there's nothing you can do about it. Today, you cannot get that. So people who are making progress are those who by nature, people have identified, the community have identified, citizens have identified, voters have identified as those who they can resonate with and they can relate with, those who can represent their interests, and those who can consummate the intention and objective, not only of their party, but of the community. So in that context, you cannot say that accountability is also a citizenship responsibility. It's not enough to be expecting the police, EFCC, ICPC, NFIU to go and be chasing governors and everybody. Citizens also can monitor that. Only recently, I have heard people shouting, it was the president of Nigeria that had to go to court to ask for local government autonomy. Even the local government themselves, including Oge, don't want the autonomy. It was Buhari that was asking for autonomy for the legislature. The legislature themselves thrice voted against themselves. State legislatures say that they don't want autonomy. You can imagine the twisted logic in that. How do you access the people to make them get the kind of quality and type of leadership that they want at that level? Where you can now be asking for where is the money coming from the federal government. All right. The people to do that will come from the states. The people to do that will come from the streets. The people that will come from the unions. The student union activism is dying. Somebody wants to be a student union leader, he goes first to the politician to seek blessing and get money to go and contest. How do you check that kind of person?
Our time is running out. Our time is up already. I wish we could have time to talk about this. I don't know. You will come again because we need to talk about this, because we need to do a holistic assessment of the APC governors as we keep waiting for those that need to be indoctrinated and, of course, to do the right thing.
Political quarantine.
Call it political quarantine. All right, many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today to talk politics. Well, as we wait for the political quarantine of those defecting from other parties to the All Progressive Congress, let's keep our fingers crossed to see if they will work based on their conscience or they want people to carry cane and placard to follow them. But notwithstanding, it is not all APC governors that are doing what they are supposed to do, as in being accountable and transparent. All of this will be coming up in our subsequent programs as we do a holistic assessment of the All Progressive Congress officials. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, we will return for the closing of Global Mornings. Well, that was a very intensive and very hot session. But then, what else can we say? Let's just keep our fingers crossed and see how transparency and, of course, accountability will be spelled in the All Progressive Congress going forward, as we see how these other defecting governors will incorporate into the party.
So let them enjoy their quarantine, according to our guest this morning. That's all we have on Global Morning for you. Remember, as always, that the views of our guests across all of our programs are their opinions. I am Uyi Agumofwebe.
I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thanks for joining us.